This is Worldwide Classic. I'm Southside Trey. Let's get straight to it. So let's talk about ISHOWSPEED for a minute. I wanted ISHOWSPEED to be careful with WWE. That's mainly because ISHOWSPEED is a bigger star than the WWE. And it never sat right with me how that company had Braun Breaker spear the shit out of ISHOWSPEED. So let me just get straight to it. How is it that the WWE could have a guest like Bad Bunny, and when Bad Bunny is at WrestleMania, as well as other matches including the street fight, Bad Bunny is actually being taken seriously in the ring? Bad Bunny is actually being real competition against WWE superstars. At WrestleMania 37, even somebody in the commentary, maybe Booker T, said flat out to our faces that Bad Bunny was the best special guest wrestler they've had in the company. The way that he wasn't scared to fight against the superstars, and the fact that Bad Bunny had a few moves that looked halfway decent, which then led to a couple of others that I mentioned, including the street fight with Damian Priest. Somehow Bad Bunny is having WrestleMania moments, getting wins, and he's having highly physical and competitive matches with former world champions. This is Bad Bunny we're talking about. And I like Bad Bunny. So salute to him, because this isn't about that. This is about how WWE had ISHOWSPEED be the complete opposite of everything I just said. Y'all had ISHOWSPEED be scary. Y'all had ISHOWSPEED get his ass whooped on his own live stream. And then even at WrestleMania, WWE had Logan Paul knock out ISHOWSPEED. This was Speed's tag team partner. And they switched up on Speed by the end of the match. Because every chance WWE had, they had ISHOWSPEED turn into Steve Urkel on some did I do that type shit. Because he was always accidentally running into people, costing wrestlers their matches. Maybe some people think that's cute. This is ISHOWSPEED. He's one of the most gifted athletes in the world. That includes wrestling. We just didn't get a chance to see it because the WWE had 40-year-old men whooping ISHOWSPEED's ass. I don't like the idea of this company trying to leverage ISHOWSPEED's celebrity in that way. When we watch Speed on his streams and on clips all over the internet, ISHOWSPEED is conquering the world. He's been doing things all over the world that we just don't see from other people. Even other athletes. I've seen ISHOWSPEED jump over cars, do backflips on the tallest structures in the world. I think ISHOWSPEED had a tour through Africa, and on one of the stops, he was boxing with guys in Uganda. Who the hell does these things? So, did ISHOWSPEED have a viral moment at WrestleMania? You damn right he did. Because that's the least the WWE could do. That was a hell of a move. When ISHOWSPEED jumped off the top rope, landing on Logan Paul through the announce table. Even though we see almost everybody doing that, including CM Punk in the main event, it was something about the hang time that Speed got doing that move that I don't think I've seen before. ISHOWSPEED did something that was like a double clutch while he was flying through the air. I've never seen that happen before. And why would I be surprised? It's ISHOWSPEED, one of the biggest stars in the world. But he also should have had a great match. Not doing moves in the match where the wrestlers are not even selling. It's just like I said with Braun Breaker spearing ISHOWSPEED. I just don't appreciate certain shit WWE is doing with this kid. Since people didn't get a chance to check out my last video, let me play a couple clips right now speaking on this situation. Just on yesterday's episode, I reiterated how much I think Braun Breaker is not safe in the ring. And this is while Braun Breaker is working with trained professionals. And I think Braun Breaker has the perfect name because he's dangerous in the ring. And not in a good way. And ISHOWSPEED found that out the hard way. Kinda ironic how ISHOWSPEED has a match at WrestleMania and Braun Breaker doesn't. That spear on ISHOWSPEED was unnecessary. There was just no way that that kid was supposed to hit his head on the mat that way. In the year of 2026, we've almost seen 100 different celebrities be a part of WWE. And I can't recall one of those people getting their head slammed on the mat in that way. Bad Bunny is one of the biggest music artists in the world. And we've seen Bad Bunny have at least 2 or 3 different matches in WWE. One of those matches was a street fight where anything goes and violence is encouraged. And between all 3 of those matches, especially the violent street fight, I didn't see Bad Bunny take one bump that looked as scary as the one that ISHOWSPEED took at the Royal Rumble. And it looked like a possibility ISHOWSPEED would get involved. It's almost like how Spider-Man has the spider sense. I just have a gut instinct when some bullshit is about to go on. I don't know how ISHOWSPEED didn't have a concussion after that. One of the main reasons I wanted to tell ISHOWSPEED to be careful in WWE is because ISHOWSPEED is a bigger star than WWE. When you're a young man at that age, making the type of history that he's making, there are going to be companies that try to take advantage of his celebrity. If you need any proof of that, direct your attention to Sunday night at WrestleMania when ISHOWSPEED will be a part of a 6-man tag. The WWE better have the stage set for ISHOWSPEED to be a breakout star at WrestleMania. But it's the opponents that raise my concern again. The Usos and LA Knight. I don't like the idea of WWE trying to leverage the celebrity of ISHOWSPEED to make LA Knight a star. It's been no secret that the WWE doesn't know what the hell to do with LA Knight. And now it appears WWE wants to use the cheat code that is ISHOWSPEED. I just don't know how that happens all the way when the opponents are the Usos and LA Knight. Those 3 guys are the fan favorites. So how good is the WWE really gonna make Speed look? And then now WWE had a chance to redeem itself. But instead, LA Knight, the Usos, they didn't sell any of the offense ISHOWSPEED had. And like I said in those clips, I don't appreciate that shit. Because this company had Bad Bunny running around damn near like he could compete for the Intercontinental Championship. Hell, if Bad Bunny could have fitted in his schedule, I'm pretty sure WWE would have made him a tag team champion at the least. And then I gotta reference it one more time. How is Bad Bunny having a street fight with Damian Priest? And not only is Bad Bunny not being treated like ISHOWSPEED in the match, but Bad Bunny is competitive in the match. Let me ask y'all this question real quick. Who do you think will win in a fight between Bad Bunny and ISHOWSPEED? Because like I often say, you ain't gotta listen to a word that I'm saying. We can just go off facts and history. I just said that ISHOWSPEED was boxing Ugandans in Africa. This young man is out here fighting with warriors around the world. He's winning foot races against guys who are Olympians and considered the fastest people in the world. Stop playing with ISHOWSPEED. And just like Birdman told the Breakfast Club that one time, put some respect on his name. Why in the hell would ISHOWSPEED be scared of anything going on in WWE? When us as fans have watched him get busy in real life, he shouldn't have been a heel from the jump. That was already the setup to let me know this would happen. I don't like 40-year-old men trying to get spotlight from this young kid. ISHOWSPEED should have had a big moment and a big move against all 3 of his opponents. We just watched his tag team partner, Logan Paul, compete in his 5th WrestleMania. Logan Paul has been a United States champion. Logan Paul has wrestled Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I've said it on this show. Logan Paul is the real deal. We saw a little bit of the footage of ISHOWSPEED training with Randy Orton. Randy Orton doesn't strike me as the type of guy that's gonna sugarcoat anything. And Randy Orton looked impressed with ISHOWSPEED, as he should. WWE even showed us footage of ISHOWSPEED training, and that footage looked pretty good. So why weren't we seeing that in the match at WrestleMania? We didn't see the highlight move from Speed until after the match was over, and it was on Logan Paul. So again, WWE set up the scenario where ISHOWSPEED has no effect against a WWE superstar. And I just don't like that shit. Because ISHOWSPEED is bigger than everybody in that company put together. I'm going to start the whole thing off with something that I like to call the WrestleMania MVP. This is another idea that I think WWE should incorporate into the actual show. They could even get interactive and bring back a Cyber Sunday type of thing where they could let the fans vote and decide who was the MVP of both nights. And once the fans decide who this person is, then it should be announced in a segment on the Raw after WrestleMania, which then leads to a title match the following Monday night. So without further ado, my WrestleMania MVP was Femi. The road to and then actual WrestleMania, Femi proved that, and it shouldn't even be a question about it. I don't think I've ever heard the fans that loud chanting for a wrestler on his way to the ring. And I know for a fact I haven't heard that in a football stadium. But Femi had the best crowd reaction out of almost any recent WrestleMania. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about the WWE being lucky. Maybe this is why they had WrestleMania in Las Vegas 2 years straight. Because Lady Luck is on their side, and with Femi, WWE just hit the lottery. This is a huge accomplishment, and it's a crowning moment. Not just for Femi, but for WWE. I know every executive in that company celebrated that night, and Femi was the biggest reason for that celebration. Triple H, along with a few other executives, have been in WWE since the Attitude Era. This is a time period where reactions like Femi's were a regular occurrence. I referenced one of my favorite shows, Poker Face, in the past, and I'm going to reference it one more time. It's really a good ass show. There was an episode about a band that had one hit song from their career, and they've been trying to chase that hit for 20 years. And after almost 20 years of trying to recreate any type of hit record, the leader of the band overheard her new member singing a song he wanted to introduce to the group. The exact moment she started to hear the words and the melody from her new band member, she instantly knew she had it again. Wasn't no doubt about it. This is exactly what Triple H and every other executive felt backstage at WrestleMania. They got it. My only thing is, can they keep it? Even in the actual match, Femi is different. Brock Lesnar ran into Femi 2 times, which to my eyes seemed like he ran full force both times, especially the second time. Femi barely budged. This man barely moved when Brock Lesnar ran into him at least 20 to 30 miles an hour. You have a lot of people in the world that want to question the credibility of pro wrestling. That's a personal issue, and that's on them. But even if you feel that way, when you see Brock Lesnar collide with another human being at that speed and at that force, and the opponent isn't fazed by it, that's something that you have to give credit for, whether you're a fan or not. Because how in the hell can you fake that? Let Brock Lesnar's big ass run into you 10 miles an hour and see if you gonna stand still. And the match was on point. It wasn't long, and it was straight to the point, the way that I envisioned it. I just didn't expect that Brock Lesnar would put over Femi the way that he did. After the sequence that I just talked about, Brock Lesnar had to go to the outside of the ring and rethink his life. Brock Lesnar was on the outside of the ring making a business decision. The beautiful part about adding that detail, Brock Lesnar actually left his boots in the ring, almost teasing the fact that he's retired from WWE. And he did the entire curtain call. For the first time in his career, Brock Lesnar became human. He waved at the fans, got emotional, hugged Paul Heyman, really looked sincere and genuine. In my opinion, Brock Lesnar really did go the extra mile in passing the torch to Femi. I said that this is the first sign of human life within Brock Lesnar. To me, this is also the first time Brock Lesnar has ever passed the torch. Most of the time, if a wrestler is blessed enough to have the torch passed to them, it's only one time. I felt like Brock Lesnar has had a couple of torches passed to him. One being The Rock and one being The Undertaker when he took his first loss at WrestleMania. Key and critical. Those are key and critical moments for Brock Lesnar. It's been long overdue for Brock Lesnar to give back to the business. I really wanted to say Brock Lesnar passed the torch to Roman Reigns, but upon further review and me going back to watch some of their previous encounters, Brock Lesnar couldn't have passed the torch to Roman Reigns because he was too busy whooping his ass his whole career. To me, this is the only time in Brock Lesnar's career where he's really shown up for his opponent in this way. I'm not saying Brock Lesnar has never let anybody else shine, but we haven't seen him help create a superstar the way that we saw him do with Femi. Even in the build-up to WrestleMania. We just haven't seen it. And if you saw it, then let me know. I just talked about how Femi did 2 no-sales. And then after that, Brock took a couple of minutes to put on a show and show that he didn't know what to do with Femi. He's tripling down on putting over Femi. And just the way that Femi is ready for the moment. That's what inspires me so much watching these people become stars. These new stars are fearless going out to this ring. This is WrestleMania with about 50,000 people. Even veteran wrestlers that have been there for a decade plus, they still get a little bit caught off guard when they really look out into the sea of fans that is WrestleMania. So imagine you just being on the main roster for 3 months and this being your first WrestleMania and really your first match on the main roster. Maybe Femi had a couple of tune-up matches here and there. That's possible. But his match versus Brock Lesnar was the only real match Femi has had since he's been called up. And that's no shots at whoever he might have had a match with. So for all intents and purposes, for me, WrestleMania was Femi's first main roster match. Take all of these things into consideration and try to put yourself in those shoes. I know people right now, as of this day, that don't feel comfortable speaking in front of crowds. And when I say crowd in these situations, I'm talking about a gathering of at least 20 people or more. We watched Femi be a new wrestler on this stage, and he walked that shit down. Literally. I'm a little bit sick of the strut, but I'm not here to nitpick right now. But on second thought, maybe I am. Because Femi shouldn't have to strut all the way to the ring. It has to be a halfway point where he does a new ritual and then he proceeds to the ring as normal. Let's not make this strut awkward moving forward. Because WWE likes to pontificate on things like this. Halfway down the aisle, he needs to have some new pose, some new gesture, some new ritual, and then he's able to go to the ring like a normal human being. But all in all, this was a magical moment. Being able to witness situations like this is the entire reason that I'm here talking to y'all right now. I love watching the best be the best. And even with a roster that now includes Javon Evans and Trick Williams, I think after what I just saw at WrestleMania, Femi is the best of the best. Femi versus Brock Lesnar was one of those times where it made WrestleMania feel complete. Before WrestleMania even started, I went on Instagram and shared how my feelings were hurt. Because when WWE first unveiled the stage for WrestleMania, I thought that they just didn't give a damn. But there were certain entrances at this event that made that stage feel like next level. Femi and Brock Lesnar was the main match that made that stage come alive. I'm a fan of great set designs. To me, it goes hand in hand with the matches. Once I see that the set is okay, then I know the show will be okay. And since we see the stage before we actually see a match, The stage is our first impression for these big shows, especially WrestleMania. It's almost how it's a tradition at the Super Bowl for it to be good commercials in between the game. Before I even talk about the match, let me throw out one other entrance that actually brought that stage alive, and that was Stephanie Vaquer. Did y'all hear how loud the people were in that football arena chanting for Femi? I've never really been a fan of this event being held in football stadiums. I feel like we never get the full effect of the crowd. You don't hear the crowd reaction in unison the way that you hear it in the arena. The arenas are a little bit smaller, but it feels a lot more intimate. And when the crowd starts to chant, it's easy for the fans to get on the same page. It's not that easy in a football stadium. You could have a section of the crowd that gets loud and starts to chant, but it doesn't resonate through the whole building. Watching Femi make his entrance at WrestleMania is the exact reason why I love this sport of pro wrestling. What happens inside of the ring is a large part of it, but I'm a fan of every aspect of the show. We talked about the set designs already. That's key and that's critical. I like to hear a great ring introduction and announcement, and I like to hear great commentary attached to the match. So you can almost say I'm looking for a symphony of things to be correct. Now I gotta talk about night one's main event with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. This match wasn't nothing like I expected it to be, but this match was still one of the best matches either of these guys have had at WrestleMania. I thought I was the villain when it came to WWE. And I don't try to be an asshole. I just give suggestions and tips on how to make pro wrestling the way that it should be. How to make the best use of all of this talent that they have on the roster. I've seen fans online say that Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton was basically a failure, and nothing about the match was good. Like I always say, to each his own. But I do get kinda curious what people are looking at. The match wasn't what I expected it to be, but this was some of the best work that I've seen from Cody Rhodes. Because WWE has this weird dynamic where Cody is flirting with being a heel. He's not trying to be a heel. Just like in AEW, the fans are making Cody Rhodes a heel. It's just something about the good guy, perfect clean image that fans are going to turn on sooner than later. And with the suspenders and bow ties and custom made suits, he's almost like a politician in pro wrestling. So it's only a matter of time before the fans are booing him out the building. But if you're WWE, you're supposed to welcome that. That's the best kind of storytelling because it's organic, which is another thing fans want. They don't want the creative to feel forced. And why should they when we're trying to make professional wrestling be on the same level of any other sport? Having Cody Rhodes make these decisions throughout the match, whether he should take it to a new level or not, is perfect. And a formula Cody should be using moving forward. Every match, Cody should be towing the line and getting away with as much as possible. Up until the day where the fans are just sick of his shit. The day that the WWE knows what to do with a heel Cody Rhodes, I think we're going to see Cody be the best he's ever been in his career. Maybe a lot of the fans didn't know, but it seems like Randy Orton has a real injury. There were already reports of this the day of WrestleMania, which is unfortunate because Randy Orton just came back from this same injury. Randy Orton has had a bad back for almost 10 years now. There's a possibility Randy Orton doesn't fully recover from this back injury. It's been 10 years already, and I think this explains why there's been periods of time where we haven't seen Randy Orton wrestle on a regular. He can't. This back injury is not going away. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but this explains why Cody Rhodes was pushing for a match with Randy Orton. The time is ticking on Randy Orton. We just talked about Brock Lesnar leaving his boots in the ring, suggesting retirement. In December and January, we saw two of the biggest stars be choked to death by Gunther and retire. When I did the North Carolina edition of Worldwide Classic, I named a few people that are on the verge of retirement. I'm not Chris Jericho, but Randy Orton, he made the list. The superstars that I grew up watching are on their way to the parking lot. That means they're on their way out the door. A lot like Brock Lesnar, these wrestlers are about to go home. It's just a little bit more heartbreaking with Randy Orton because maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like he's not ready to be done with wrestling right now. John Cena has broken the record with 17. Randy Orton is right around the corner from that 17. There's a lot of story left to tell with the Viper, but only if he's healthy enough to tell it. I'm a big Randy Orton fan, and I don't feel good about what I saw at WrestleMania. Unless Randy Orton is just a gifted actor, I don't know if we get 2 more years with Randy Orton on the roster. It's not a day that I'm looking forward to, but it's a day that we can't stop from happening either. This is why Cody Rhodes was essentially whooping Randy Orton's ass for a better part of WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes was basically being Randy Orton. It's time to start developing this side of Cody because we have the new stars here now. I didn't need WrestleMania to prove that point. Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Oba Femi. Those three guys are the cornerstone of WWE moving forward. There's other guys you could throw in the mix, sure. But the three guys I just named are can't miss. Hell, you could throw Carmelo Hayes' name on there as well. It was just easy to overlook him since WWE did the same thing as far as WrestleMania. Cody can't be the good guy forever, especially with these guys ready to be big stars. Cody playing the heel for this next generation is the only way that it can be. Did we get the result that I wanted? Of course not, because with me and WWE, it doesn't work that way. So that part of it is a letdown. But not if Randy Orton has a legitimate injury, which I'm pretty sure he does. How could Randy Orton win the match? At times, it looked like he probably wouldn't even get through the match. So I understand some of the fans being disappointed in how the match played out. But if Randy Orton is really hurt again and it's his back, then this was the only way that the match could play out. We're not going to talk about the Pat McAfee involvement and whatever the hell else WWE had planned, because they shouldn't have never planned it in the first place. However, I am thrilled that Randy Orton turned into who he really is. And that's when Randy Orton got back to business and Pat McAfee got his ass RKO'd. Now, to give the fans a little credit, it is confusing on why have Randy Orton kick Cody Rhodes in the head. That would have been perfect and for me a dream come true if it was done during the course of the match. This was after Randy Orton had already got his ass whooped and the match was over. So to the fans' point, what the hell was the point? I gotta talk about my girl Jade Cargill real quick. Once Rhea Ripley won the Elimination Chamber, I sat here right in this chair and told y'all that Jade Cargill will be a WrestleMania snack for Rhea Ripley. Once Jade Cargill formed this new group, I tried to hold out hope that she would hold on to the WWE Championship. But I always gotta go with my first mind and my gut instinct. And deep down inside, I knew Jade Cargill was being served up on a silver platter. But let me say this about Jade Cargill, and shout out to Wade Barrett, because I think he's one of the best commentators that we have. He was saying the exact same thing, and that is, for all of the people that say Jade Cargill doesn't have it inside of the ring, she proved everybody wrong at WrestleMania. Jade Cargill showed up, and I'm proud of everything that she did that night. Even though she lost the title, that's WWE's decision. But Jade Cargill made the decision to give us one of the best matches she's had in WWE. Everything was looking good, and it's only going to get better. And that's the most promising part about the match that I saw from Jade Cargill. This is still just the beginning. And if she's catching on like this already, then I can't wait to the point where we see Jade Cargill versus a Charlotte Flair. When we see Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. This is why I'm not entirely mad at Rhea Ripley being her first opponent for this event. I don't like Jade starting her WrestleMania career with a loss, but this match was pivotal in her development. I guess I'm just more so pissed off with Me Shin and B-Fab. I mean, I know it's WWE's fault. So on second thought, let me address the company and not the ladies. I guess being smart and having psychology just doesn't matter. Because how could Jade Cargill have two people in her corner and Rhea Ripley have one person run down that long ass aisle, get past two other people, and then assist Rhea Ripley with the win? How does that happen? I mean, I'm happy for Rhea Ripley fans, and that was the type of finish for the kids. And I'm not mad at it, because essentially this is for the kids. It's just our grown ass that won't let go. So this was the perfect finish for young Rhea Ripley fans. Io Sky too for that matter. But for my grown ass that won't let wrestling go, it took Io Sky 2 minutes to run down the ramp. How is it that two people couldn't come up with a plan to shut that shit down? You know, inside that 2 minute window that it takes for Io Sky to run to the ring. So basically, Me Chin and B-Fab stood there and watched Io Sky run to the ring. And in the 2 minutes that it took Io Sky to run down the ramp, both couldn't figure out a way to shut that shit down. Still in all, I'm very impressed with what I saw from Jade Cargill. I ain't mad at Rhea Ripley, so congratulations to her too. It'll be interesting to see the impact Rhea Ripley has as the new champion. So let's go ahead and get ready to wrap it up with the main event. We wasn't able to cover every match today, but I'll be back tomorrow after Monday Night Raw, and we'll be able to cover more ground. Right now, I gotta close the show the way that I started the WrestleMania preview. And that's saying exactly what I said then. Seth Rollins and Gunther could have had the best match at WrestleMania. And that's exactly what they did. I've said this before, and I have to say it again. Seth Rollins has been damn near having the best match at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 37. With all of that in mind, Seth Rollins is this generation's Mr. WrestleMania. I keep saying how I'm a Shield guy. If you take a look at all three of those guys in pro wrestling, it's easy to see why. I know talent when I see it. And that's half the conversations that we have here on Worldwide Classic. The Shield was one of my favorite groups of all time. Ever since their debut, I knew that they were going to be who they are now. And that's the top guys in the business. That includes Jon Moxley over there in AEW. That's why he's been their world champion more than any other wrestler in that company. We just saw Roman Reigns headline WrestleMania for the 11th time, which is a record. And now he's won a world title 7 times. Seth Rollins had one of the biggest moments in WrestleMania when he cashed in Money in the Bank and won the WWE Championship. Seth Rollins has been one of the best matches since WrestleMania 37. Seth Rollins might be a bigger superstar than Roman Reigns. I'm not saying that for a fact. I'm just saying that it's a strong possibility. The only thing that's really prevented that besides the injury is the fact that WWE doesn't know what type of character to give Seth Rollins. That's been his biggest weakness in the company. Even right now, I don't think WWE is sure which direction to go. I've always maintained that Seth Rollins has to have Shield energy. No matter what he's doing. The Shield is what got him this far, and the Shield is what's going to take him to the next level. That wasn't the case for Roman Reigns. Because come to find out, he comes from one of the best bloodlines in the business. WWE was able to play off of that fact and move forward with that type of story. Seth Rollins doesn't have a famous wrestling family. So it was imperative that the WWE craft a special character for Seth Rollins. And being some lame ass version of the Joker wasn't it. When Cody Rhodes made his entrance at WrestleMania, they did this segment that they do with some of the other legends, where they show wardrobe and outfits worn at different stages of their career. And they did that for Cody, showing the 4 phases of his career. Besides the Shield uniform and some of those silly ass outfits from that lame ass character he had, you couldn't do a similar type of entrance for Seth Rollins because he's really had no identity in WWE. When the vision first started, which just so happens to be at last year's WrestleMania, I thought we was about to turn the corner and figure out the solution to that problem. Who could foresee that that problem was just gonna get worse? And now you have Seth Rollins' character stuck between the Shield and the Undertaker. So I hope that's something that's a priority for WWE because it's a real problem. And it's standing in the way of Seth Rollins being looked at as a Roman Reigns. Even when I've had these conversations on this show, I've read comments from the fans that say that Seth Rollins isn't as good as Roman Reigns. And that's exactly the point. To each his own. Art is subjective. But in my eyes, Roman Reigns can't do half of the things Seth Rollins could do in the ring. It's just that Seth Rollins has never had a character anywhere close to the tribal chief. This is the best thing that could have happened for Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins needed this match with Gunther to continue this WrestleMania streak. Of course Rollins was going to lose the match. Gunther is on a streak of his own. But this match stole the show. And I love how the match started off as a fight. This is something different than we've seen from Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So that was a great detail to throw into this match. I said that the build-up for this reminded me of Undertaker versus Triple H at WrestleMania 17. That match had similar qualities. It was just flipped around. Towards the end of that Undertaker-Triple H match, that's when we saw the fight break out and the match go to another level. With Seth Rollins and Gunther, that's how we started the match. And then, for the most part, we kept it in the ring. Most of these great matches Seth Rollins has had at this event, he's taken the L. This is more reason why you have to salute a guy like Seth Rollins. He doesn't care about losing a match, as long as the match did its thing. I just don't like the idea of Braun Breaker running his ass down to the ring and getting involved. I get that it sets up the storyline. I really do understand that as a wrestling fan. But this is one of those matches at an event like WrestleMania where we needed a decisive winner. We didn't need outside interference for this. Gunther is on the type of streak where he needed to get a clean win. And the match was designed for that to happen. Seth Rollins had been gone with an injury. And this was the first match that he had since he's been back. All WWE had to do was play off of that. Just after a while, you have Gunther solve the puzzle and do what he needs to do to win the match. There was no need for Braun Breaker to spear Seth Rollins for Gunther to win, especially when you had Braun Breaker double back and spear Seth Rollins again after the match, which in all honesty was a better spot. I haven't been the biggest fan of Braun Breaker, but I always call it straight down the middle. The visual of seeing Braun Breaker run down the aisle to deliver the spear was perfect for Braun Breaker. It was something original that I've never seen before, and it was the best way to highlight Braun Breaker. That was actually a nice WrestleMania moment for Braun Breaker. I'ma just leave out the fact that he botched the actual spear. You give the run down the ramp a 10, but the spear didn't connect. So it gets a 0. So even though I had to point it out, I'ma just omit that from the record just for right now. Because in that same interest of fairness, I guess even Braun Breaker deserves a win. We need Gunther to continue to look like a threat. And getting outside help doesn't accomplish that. And now we're hearing the rumors that Roman Reigns versus Gunther could be a possibility. Even more reason why Gunther should have just choked out Seth Rollins without any help. This is Worldwide Classic. I'm Southside Trey. I appreciate y'all tuning in and making this exactly what it is. and that's one of the best wrestling talk shows that exists. Make sure you check out the podcast on every platform available. That's Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon. If they have podcasts available, you will find Southside Trey. Be sure to catch clips of the podcast on YouTube. Just look up Full Time Digital House and follow me on all social media, Southside_Trey. Appreciate y'all.